Now, if you're out and about and you spot an unusual-looking insect, do you know what it is? I wouldn't have a clue what this one was. Identifying different types of insects can be very difficult, so most people don't bother.
But in the future, you could just take a snap of it anywhere in the world, and this new computer program will identify the insect and tell you all about it.
He's lovely, isn't it? Our resident natural history expert, Nick Baker, has ventured into the heart of the jungle because he reckons there's nowhere better to track down some really challenging subjects for our computer.
Early morning in the tropical rainforest, and the place is teeming with animal life. For a country the size of Belgium, Costa Rica boasts an exceedingly rich diversity of animal species, with insects taking the lion's share.
If you're into insects like I am, then this has got to be your idea of paradise. It's the rainforests of the world, like these in Costa Rica, which contain the highest biodiversity of insects of anywhere on the planet. Now, they are so diverse and there's so many different kinds here that even if you think you know your way around insects, sometimes it's difficult to know what you're looking at.
I'm a particular fan of moths, and the best way to see them is to go to the forest at night and set up a light. I've come to the Braulio Carrillo rainforest in the Central Highlands to see what I can find.
Wow! What's that? It's actually a moth with lots of lumpy bits. If I was to poke it... Oh, what is that? Was that a big hawk moth? Just check out that guy. I haven't quite made the sheet, but it's just a case of waiting. Now, if I was to use this light sheet method of collecting moths back in the UK, then I could pretty much bet I could identify most of the species that turned up in the night in a couple of hours, given a good field guide. But in Costa Rica, things are very different. For a start, there's over 10,000 recognised species of moth here. So the only real option I've got is now to take a specimen and, using my eyes, match it up with another specimen in some huge reference collection.
At Costa Rica's Institute of Biodiversity, scientists have for years been collecting insects as part of their species inventory program, and now they've got a vast reference collection.
To put a name to an insect, you could do a lot worse than come to a collection of insects like this. This one contains hundreds upon thousands of different specimens. Unfortunately, it would take me an awful long time to wade through this lot. And also, to come here has taken me out of the field, which is where I wanted to be in the first place. Wouldn't it be useful if I could take the information that this collection represented with me wherever I went? Well, in the future, that may not be far from reality. In fact, to do it, all I'll need is a digital camera and access to the internet.
By combining an online database of insect species with a software system that uses visual references, I'd be able to send a photo via the internet to tell me what species I've got. Well, that's the promise of a new insect recognition system currently being trialled by zoologists. I'm going to set Philippa a challenge back at the studio. I want to see if this new software system can put a name to one of the moths I saw in the forest.
Well, I've chosen me a rather sexy looking specimen. What I've got to do is take a picture of it. So here goes. That should do the trick. Okay, well, I've loaded the image onto the laptop. Now it's just simply a case of sending it. Okay, Philippa, see if you can identify this.
I'm sure it's not going to be a problem, Nick. Here is the email and Nick's photograph, and this is Dr. George McGavin. He's an entomologist, insect expert to you and me. So, George, how useful and who benefits?
This could be hugely useful to anybody, from an amateur in your backyard to an expert in the field. If you had to, say, find out in a hurry whether an insect was a harmful insect or not, you could ask the expert in the box here.
Right, time to test you against the computer. Do you know what it is?
Well, it's a hawk moth, of which there are about 1,500 species, but which one, I couldn't tell you.
To get the computer to tell me, all I have to do is outline the wing there, which I've done, and click on Identify. And it is indeed a hawk moth, Xylophanes titana. But what's lovely is that you also get a huge amount of information.
Amazing.
Yeah?
Hours of bookwork.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much, George, for coming and testing it. And if you want to find out how the system actually works, the inventor of it, Dr. Mark O'Neill, will be answering your questions on our website for an hour after the show. So that's at www.bbc.co.uk/TW.